Why is that girl in our house? Little girl asks millionaire dad's shocking response at 3 a.m. The clock struck 3, the stillness of the night shattered by an unexpected whisper. Who is that girl in our house? Amelia's small voice pierced the quiet, filled with equal parts curiosity and fear. The shadows danced along the walls as her tiny frame trembled, peeking from behind her bedroom door. In the moonlight, she could just make out the silhouette of a girl standing at the end of the hallway, a girl who didn't belong, her face eerily illuminated by the flickering light of the living room lamp. Every instinct screamed for Amelia to bolt back to her bed, but her legs felt like lead. There was something deeply unsettling about this ghostly figure. The girl, with wild, tangled hair and clothes that looked several sizes too big, stood frozen, gazing around as if captivated by her surroundings. Who was she? Why was she here? And why was nobody else awake to notice? Downstairs, in the grand dining room, Amelia's dad was fumbling through his papers, oblivious to the chaos about to unfold. His heart was racing, but not from the pile of documents cluttering his desk. It was the encroaching realization that the clock had ticked past midnight, long after everyone should have been tucked in bed. He was a millionaire living in a mansion, filled with treasures and secrets, yet nothing felt more foreign than this girl who had breached his sanctuary. He glanced up, and his heart dropped. The girl locked eyes with him, an unnerving smile spreading across her face. A chill crawled down his spine. Daddy? Who is she? Amelia's voice shattered the tension. The question hung heavy in the air. The millionaire dad felt the weight of everyone's stare, the weight of disbelief and fear. He opened his mouth but found no words to say. The night sighed as the uncertainty thickened, blended with the echo of his daughter's voice, a plea, a warning. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash the like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The tension in the room escalated. The girl's eyes darted around as if searching for something. Suddenly, she pointed a finger straight toward Amelia. You're the one I'm looking for, she said, her voice a cold whisper that sent shivers racing through the air. A palpable gasp echoed through the mansion, leaving everyone frozen, suspending their breaths in shared disbelief. Amelia's heart raced, she felt the icy grip of fear wrapping around her chest. What did this strange girl want? Then came the ominous sound of glass breaking from the kitchen, followed by the frantic scurrying of something in the shadows. The father's instincts kicked in. Stay here, he barked, eyes darting. But curiosity gripped Amelia, pulling her closer to the doorway, as if some unseen force was drawing her out into the mystery. What had she brought into their home? The lingering question tugged at their minds, leaving behind a trail of uncertainty and dread. The night felt darker, more sinister than ever. What was the girl hiding? And what would it mean for them all? Amelia, come back. The command cut through the silence like a blade, but it barely registered in the little girl's mind. She was transfixed, a puppet on strings pulled by a force she couldn't comprehend. The wild-haired girl took a step forward, her face now fully illuminated. Amelia, her name felt heavy on the air, swirling with an eerie resonance that tinged the room with apprehension. The moment hung like a drop of water on the edge of a leaf, ready to plummet at any second. Who are you? Amelia finally managed to whisper, her voice barely a breath in the vault of the mansion. Those wide, haunting eyes seemed to absorb every flicker of light, every ounce of fear. The figure's smile widened, but it didn't reach her eyes. I've been waiting for you, she said, her tone almost playful yet threaded with something darker. The words slithered into the room, wrapping around Amelia like an unseen vine, tightening with each breath. Get away from her! The millionaire father shouted, his heart pounding like a war drum in his chest. He stepped forward instinctively, ready to shield his daughter, to banish the specter that had invaded their home. But the girl's gaze shifted, landing on him with a mix of mischief and menace. Do you really think you can protect her? She mocked, tilting her head as if studying him. You don't even know what she is. He recoiled, confusion plunging into his chest like a knife. What did she mean? His protective instincts flared, forcing him to step even closer. Tell me who you are and why you're here. The girl chuckled softly, a sound that was both enchanting and bone-chilling. There was something about her laughter like the soft tinkling of broken glass that made every hair on his body stand on end. You should listen to me, she drawled, because there are things about her you don't understand. Amelia clutched her father's thigh, her fingers digging into his flesh, seeking comfort as the shadows seemed to envelop her. The world around them felt alive, the walls vibrating with the chaos that lingered just beyond their sight. The wind whispered menacing secrets through the cracked windows. Suddenly, the sound of shattering glass echoed again, this time louder and more urgent. From the kitchen, a muffled growl resounded, sending a fresh wave of panic through the cushions of silence. It was followed by what sounded like something heavy crashing against the floor, a scratching noise that crept closer. Dad! Amelia yelped, her voice climbing an octave. But he couldn't look away from the girl, who now stood still, studying the door with a hungry gleam dancing in her eyes. She is not just a little girl, she has something inside her. Just like I do, she said with a breathy laugh. It wants to come out. What are you talking about? He shouted, taking a step forward. He could sense the danger thrumming in the air, the raw energy boiling just beneath the surface. It was a suffocating mixture of dread and disbelief, swirling with the urgency of the unknown. Daddy, I'm scared. Amelia whimpered, her voice breaking with fear. Just stay behind me. He snapped, his heart racing. But in the back of his mind, dread twisted every thought. What about the girl? What about whatever lurked in the shadows, inching closer, threatening to break their fragile reality apart? The girl suddenly began to advance, her fingers stretching toward Amelia's heart. I have to awaken what's inside you, she purred, her voice wrapping around them like fog. Amelia felt her skin prickle. Was this a dream or a nightmare? As the air thickened with tension, a ghastly growl erupted from the kitchen, followed by a stinging silence that felt like a countdown. Time hung suspended. Then, out of the darkness, a shadow lunged toward them. What had they invited into their home? And was Amelia truly the one destined to confront it? Amelia released a soft whimper, the sound barely piercing through the heavy tension that enveloped the room. Shadows danced as the figure inched forward, every step echoing with sinister promises, the darkness behind her swelling like a living entity. Her haunting gaze remained fixed on Amelia, as if she were a moth drawn to an irresistible flame. Leave her alone. The father shouted, adrenaline surging through his veins like wildfire. He couldn't stand by any longer, every instinct screamed that his child was in danger. He clenched his fists, ready to confront the mysterious girl who threatened his world. Oh, but I can't do that, she replied, her voice dripping with an unsettling sweetness. What's inside her wants to trigger. And once it does, you won't be able to stop it. What do you mean, what's inside her? His question spiraled into the cavernous room, the air electrified with fear. It felt as if the walls inhaled, wanting to swallow the words whole. The girl paused, her expression transforming, a blend of excitement and mischief flickering across her face. The truth is, Amelia isn't what you think, she said, her voice a haunting melody. She is special. She carries a power that even you, dear father, can't comprehend. A low growl erupted again from the kitchen, the sound a maddening reminder that something lurked just beyond sight, waiting for its moment to strike. Stand back, Amelia. He ordered, his heart pounding with raw urgency. He moved forward, forcing his will against the presence that seemed to tie Amelia to the floor. She was trembling, her little body shaking like a leaf caught in a storm. Daddy, I don't understand. What power? Amelia cried, thin tears welling in her eyes as she looked at both the strange girl and her father, desperate for answers. There are shadows that feed on fear, Amelia, the girl revealed, her voice an enticing whisper, laced with treachery. They want to use you. Exactly like they tried to use me. Shut up! He shouted, stepping protectively in front of Amelia. You stay away from her. The very ground beneath them seemed to shift, the floor creaking, vibrating as if something massive was moving just below their feet. In that moment of chaos, the kitchen door burst open, slamming against the wall with force. A hulking shape surged into the room, a grotesque silhouette that loomed above them, hungry and primal. The air thickened with fear, an almost tangible force that twisted around them like a vice. "Run!" he shouted, instinct taking over. He grabbed Amelia's wrist, yanking her toward the staircase. But the girl's laughter reverberated, a chilling reminder that escape might not be so simple. "You can't run from what you've summoned," she taunted, her voice rising above the chaos. "You're all in this together now." As they raced up the stairs, the soft thud of a heavy body chasing them echoed in the halls. Each step sent them deeper into an unknown darkness. The urgency clawed at him, the instinct to protect his daughter fighting against the overwhelming odds that seemed stacked against them. He reached the landing, breathless, glancing over his shoulder just as the shape collided with the foot of the stairs. Its growls morphed into something more human, a hideous voice scraping against his consciousness. "Amelia! You can't escape the truth." The weight of realization pressed down on the father as he locked eyes with his daughter, her trust unwavering despite the chaos. What had they awoken? What truth did the shadows hold? Desperation tore through him, fueling his determination to confront whatever lay ahead. What if his daughter was not just a little girl, but a key to something far darker? As the shadow crept closer, he knew they had to find out. Some answers demanded to be uncovered, even when lurking beneath them, fear coiled tight, ready for the next flash, and buried in that confusion, a question lingered in the air: what price would they have to pay to unveil the truth? Amelia's small hand trembled in her father's grip as they reached the top of the staircase. He pressed his back against the wall, straining to catch his breath, heart racing, each beat echoing off the wooden panels like the ominous growl creeping up from below. "Daddy! I feel something," she whispered, her bright eyes wide with a mixture of fear and confusion. It was the first time he noticed her expression wasn't just terror, there was something deeper in her gaze. An understanding, however faint, flickered beneath the surface. "Stay close to me," he urged, his voice thick with urgency. The darkness that surrounded them felt alive, pulsing with every moment they spent in its grip. It was as if a veil had been drawn, closing them off from safety, isolating them in a world they didn't belong to. The creature below let out a bone-chilling snarl, shaking the very fabric of the house. Straining to listen, he realized it wasn't just a haunting whisper that pursued them. It was a prophecy wrapped in dread, a warning imbued with hunger. "We need to hide," Amelia pleaded, her eyes darting. She was scanning their surroundings, searching for sanctuary amidst the chaos. "No. We need to figure this out," he declared, determination edging his tone. He wasn't about to let fear dictate their next move. But deep inside, a knot twisted tighter. What if they couldn't escape the shadows? What if they were already caught in its web? With Amelia still gripping his hand, he started moving down the narrow hallway, fingers brushing against the wall for leverage. Each step was careful, retracing the path he'd taken many times before, but now it felt twisted and foreign. "Daddy, what did she mean?" Amelia asked, glancing back towards the direction they'd come from, her youthful innocence battling with new realities she was now forced to acknowledge. "What do you mean?" He hesitated, fear flooding back, fear of the truth he wasn't yet ready to face. "What power? What truth?" Her voice wobbled, almost as if she were teetering at the edge of understanding. He opened his mouth, preparing to provide some comforting lie, but words failed him. He didn't understand any more than she did, and deep down, he feared he might be the cause. Suddenly, a loud crash resonated from below, the sound of something heavy slamming against the floor, reverberating through the house like a warning siren. Amelia flinched, her small body pressing closer to him, as if his presence could shield her from whatever darkness awaited. "Keep moving," he commanded, urgency slicing through his nerves. They headed towards the old study, a sanctuary of sorts. He'd always believed that a good book could shield one from the world outside. As they entered, the door creaked shut behind them, sealing them in an eerie stillness. Shadows cloaked the room, and barely a sliver of moonlight filtered in, morphing the space into a crypt of uncertainty. Dust motes swirled through the thin beams, dancing like memories lost and found. "Find something," he instructed, pushing Amelia toward the cluttered desk piled high with papers and old books. "There has to be something here." But as she rifled through the books, a sense of dread began to settle in the pit of his stomach. What were they really searching for? A weapon against the unknown? Answers about their predicament? Or perhaps hope to cling to when everything else seemed lost? A chilling silence enveloped them, every minute stretching into an eternity, as if the shadows were holding their breath, waiting to pounce. Then, Amelia gasped disbelievingly, her tiny fingers hovering over an ancient book, its spine cracked and fragile. "Daddy, look at this!" Before he could see, the door rattled with another powerful thud. Panic flooded his veins. "What is it, Amelia?" "Something from inside, it feels cold," she muttered, her curiosity battling her fear. With a heavy heart, he realized he might have to let her delve deeper, perhaps discovering what had been hidden would lead them out. But just then, a guttural growl erupted from beyond the door, louder than before. They were running out of time. At that moment, he understood the darkness they faced was more than just a creature, it was a secret buried deep within Amelia, just waiting to be unleashed. "What are we going to do?" His voice trembled. "Find out what's inside," she whispered, determination glimmering in her tear-filled eyes. The shadows threatened to swallow them whole, and a question hung in the air: was unlocking the secret worth the risk, or were they condemning themselves to a fate worse than they could imagine? The air in the study grew thick as if the walls themselves were tightening around them, the shadows deepening like a heavy fog. He didn't know what lurked beyond the door, and worse, he didn't understand what lay hidden in the book Amelia had discovered. It felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, peering into an abyss where screams echoed endlessly. "Amelia," he whispered, his throat dry, "you have to be careful." She merely nodded, a nervous determination etched on her face. Grasping the ancient book tighter, she pried it free from the clutter, causing a cascade of dust that folded into the moonlight. Pages fluttered open as if they had a mind of their own, revealing cryptic symbols and scrawled notes that had faded over time. He could feel a pulse in the air, almost a heartbeat, resonating with dread, but then bang! The noise reverberated again, stronger this time, shaking the very foundation of the study. The door rattled violently, and a chill swept through the room, making the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. "Daddy, it wants to get in!" Amelia squeaked, her voice barely a murmur, eyes wide and frightened. "Stay back." He shoved a chair against the door, heart pounding like a war drum. "Whatever it is, we have to keep it out." He glanced at Amelia, and for a fleeting moment, he made a promise to protect her at all costs. The fear on her small face clutched at his heart like a vice. "What's in the book?" He shouted over the chaos, desperately hoping she'd find clarity in the jumble of words. It's about a prophecy or something," she stammered, flipping pages rapidly. "There's a girl in darkness, something about a key." "Key? What key?" Panic bubbled in his chest as he imagined all the possible horrors they faced. What had they stumbled into? Had they unknowingly walked into a nightmare crafted from the pages of this book? The key to the darkness! She cried, trembling as new words shaped themselves in her mind. "Daddy, look! If it's true, then I might be the key." His stomach dropped. Her eyes flicked between terror and resolve, and he felt the ground shift under him. No, it couldn't be. Not her. No, Amelia. I won't let you be part of this. There has to be another way. But even as he said it, he felt a truth echoing through him. They were already entangled in a web far deeper than they could comprehend. Another crashing noise interrupted them, this time matched by a roar, primal and feral, impossibly close. "Daddy! It's coming!" Amelia shouted. Just then, the chair he had wedged against the door splintered. Adrenaline surged through him as he rushed to Amelia's side, heart pounding harder with each second that passed. Okay, he thought in a frantic whisper to himself, if she really is the key, then we have to figure out this prophecy. Whatever it means. The book fell open at a specific page, illuminating a jagged drawing of a silhouette, a girl, but not just any girl. It was a deeper depiction, with shadowy tendrils clawing at her from all sides. Recognition hit him like a lightning bolt. The drawing looked like Amelia. Amelia! He gasped, "This picture, it looks like you." She nodded slowly, her own expression shifting to one of confusion and horror. What does that mean? I don't know, he admitted, sweat beading on his forehead as the door began to bend inward. But we have to find out before it gets through. We might have to use your power against it. She shivered, her hand clenching the book like a lifeline, but her resolve was faltering now. What if the truth is too big? What if I can't know? He could almost feel the darkness pressing against his back, hungry and eager. You can. We can do this together. Suddenly, the door splintered completely, cracking down the middle as the growl intensified, echoing through the room. Time felt as if it were collapsing, their reality on the brink of disintegration. Then Amelia shouted, "I'll read it. Just keep it back." And with that, the small girl opened the book wide, her eyes glowing with an unnatural light. Words began to escape her lips, forming a chant that vibrated through the space, matching the pulsating shadows. But as she spoke, the air thickened, pushing against him like a wall, squeezing tighter. Her voice warped, sounding like a chorus of whispers, twisting through the darkness that threatened to engulf them. Amelia! He cried, but the words were lost in the cacophony. All at once, from the depths of the void, a chilling laughter erupted, coursing through the walls of the house. The creature would not be kept at bay for long. What unleashed consequence loomed behind that door? And was Amelia really the key, or were they unlocking something far worse? The shadows in the room warped and twisted, responding to the incantation coming from Amelia's trembling lips. With each word she spoke, the shadows flared, shifting ominously like dark waves rising an inch closer. He could almost feel the impending doom wrapped around them, tightening like a noose. Amelia, stop. You can't. He shouted, but the sound of her voice drowned him out. She was lost in the chant, eyes wide and unfocused, as if she was being pulled into a separate realm, one that he couldn't follow. The laughter intensified, reverberating through the wooden walls like a death knell. It was a sound he couldn't block out, a taunting promise of the wickedness that awaited them. The door splintered fully now, giving way to a darkness that roiled just beyond the threshold, clawing its way toward them. He lunged forward, but the air became a thick barrier, tangling him in an invisible web. No! Don't do this, Amelia! You must fight it! Her delicate features contorted in fear and power, words spilling from her mouth in a frantic rhythm. They were not her words. He could see them draping over her like chains, tying her to a fate he couldn't comprehend. Suddenly, a shadowy form spilled through the doorway, crawling over the splintered remnants like molten black ink. It was a monstrous silhouette, lurking and writhing, and from it emerged dozens of eyes, each one a glimmering, merciless void that fixated on Amelia. He felt time itself fracture. Every heartbeat seemed to stretch into infinity, a thin fabric of life teetering on the brink. I won't let it take you. He screamed, and before he could think twice, he rushed toward the swirling darkness, driven by instinct and love. Daddy, no! Amelia's voice shattered like glass against the impending chaos. But he was already plunging into the fray, a primal urgency grounding him. The moment his hands grazed the shimmering essence of the dark creature, pain ripped through him like fire. It was a cold, biting force that seeped into his bones, threatening to steal his breath. He pushed harder, forcing himself to stand, grounding Amelia with the promise of protection. Just keep reading. He cried again, straining against the icy grip. Don't stop. The chanting grew louder, swirling around him until it morphed into a storm, fluctuating between harmony and dissonance. With every syllable, the walls shook as if they, too, were aware of the battle taking place within. Powerful sorcery, came a bone-chilling voice from deep within the shadows. So naive to think you can control her. He could see the creature, now a grotesque visage taking form amid the chaos, stretching limbs flickering like candle flames. An eternity unfolded in those moments, the agony and power shattering across his senses. A terrifying realization hit him: the prophecy was true. The revelation sunk in, making his heart race. Amelia was the key, yes, but it wasn't merely about a destiny to fulfill. It was about the choice no one could see coming. He wouldn't let his daughter become a pawn. Amelia, listen to me. He shouted through the chaos. You can choose. You don't have to give in to this. The room pulsed with her indecision. The words from the book flickered like a breath away, her will wavering beneath the weight of darkness pressing in. Amelia. His voice shook, desperation coursing through him. You're not alone. Fight. Please. Her gaze flickered to him, the glow in her eyes dimming for just a moment, the connection forming a thin bridge between them. Daddy, she hesitated, the spell faltering, and in that instant, the creature roared, filling the room with shadows that sought to consume all light. Now! He urged, feeling the ground crack. Use what's inside you. With a deep breath, Amelia steeled her resolve, shutting her eyes tight. She let out a single, defiant word, one that shattered the spell and sent shockwaves through the air. Just as the darkness lunged forward, time seemed to collapse once more, slicing through the tension like a knife. What would happen if her power did not bind to the creature's darkness? Could they push back the abyss, threatening to swallow them whole? And would her choice set them free or seal their fates entirely? The word escaped Amelia's lips like a battle cry, reverberating through the room, clashing against the shadows with a force that seemed to threaten the very fabric of existence. Be gone! The dark creature screeched, a horrible sound that felt like ice clawing at his insides. The shadows roiled, twisting violently as if struggling against an unseen tide. It was now or never, and he pushed through the pain gripping his chest, reaching out towards Amelia, whose face glowed with newfound determination. The claustrophobic air shifted, swirling around them like a tempest. The shadows fought back, creeping closer, their icy fingers brushing against his skin, threatening to drag him into their endless void. But Amelia stood tall, fists clenched, her power surging, a beacon against the encroaching darkness. Amelia, keep going. You have to trust yourself. His yelling blended with the sound of the raging storm circling them, his voice drenched in hope and desperation. She opened her eyes, and for an instant, the wildness faded, replaced by a flicker of clarity. I can't do this alone, I need you. She shouted, her voice steadying like a firm anchor amidst the chaos. Heart pounding, he strained to reach her. You're stronger than you know. Remember who you are, your spirit, your will. You can send it away. The darkness recoiled, as if sensing the danger of Amelia's conviction. The glimmering void-like eyes looked to him, and he could almost hear their wicked thoughts, hating the light, aching to devour the purity radiating from her. Join me, the creature hissed, its voice a smoky whisper that crawled beneath his skin. Let me show you the power of shadows, the beauty in the dark. No! Amelia shouted defiantly, stepping forward, channeling her fear into a weapon. Now, she looked like a warrior instead of the terrified daughter. I choose my path. I won't let you win. The shadows surged, pushing against her, trying to swallow her whole. He could see the struggle in her eyes, the pull of darkness trying to convince her she was lesser, unworthy. But he wouldn't let that lie take root. Fight it, Amelia. He urged again, voice breaking but fierce. With every ounce of strength, he focused on her. The connection between them pulsed with energy, a thread of love and light defying the black tide surrounding them. Remember our moments, he implored, pictures racing through his mind, the laughter, the game nights, the warmth of her little hand clasped in his. The memories became a protective force around her, shielding her from the clutches of despair. The shadow creature writhed, its form distorting as if struggling against the rising tide of Amelia's resolve. You do not know what you are denying, it hissed, scratching at the edges of their reality. I know what I want. Amelia bellowed, defiance blooming within her. I want my freedom. I want to be me. With a furious burst, she stepped into the energy of the room, the words from the ancient tome swelling at her lips like a crescendo. A blinding light enveloped her, piercing through the darkness. Enough! The creature howled, convulsing as if unable to bear the brightness. And with that, it lunged, trying to claw Amelia back into the void. No! He threw himself forward in desperation, clawing his way through the wall of shadows that pushed against him, heart pounding, but just as his fingers brushed Amelia's arm, he felt a shift. The shadows began to shatter around them, a glass barrier cracking under the weight of her newfound strength. Could they really break free? Could her choice truly erase the darkness? Or would it just embolden it, presenting a greater threat than ever before? Fleeting glimpses of hope lit their surroundings, yet the creature's fury only grew as it realized its hold was slipping. The shadows screamed a promise of revenge, an echo of a dark future looming just out of reach. The confrontation was far from over, and the room pulsated ominously with potential energy. As their world teetered on the brink, they realized the true battle was only just beginning. What price would they pay to emerge victorious? As the blinding light surged from Amelia, the darkness writhed and howled, its cries echoing with desperation. In that moment, it was as if time had stopped, not a sound, not a movement. Just a standoff between light and shadow, each battling for dominance in this chilling showdown. Then, with a suddenness that felt like the crack of a thunderbolt, the shadows exploded outward, dissipating into wisps as Amelia's determination sliced through the gloom. He could barely breathe, the energy in the air crackling around them, stinging against his skin. In its wake, an eerie silence enveloped them, broken only by the soft, trembling breaths of relief escaping Amelia's lips. "Did we?" he started, hope blooming in his chest, but ambiguity hung heavily in the air of the creature, now diminished but not defeated, slithered back into the corners of the room, its eyes burning like molten coals. "You may have won this round, but I am not so easily cast aside," it hissed, voice low and brimming with venom. "You will come to no despair, child. You will regret this choice." Amelia's head snapped up, confidence crumbling for just a heartbeat at the weight of its threat. "No. I won't let you back in. Ever." She seemed unyielding again, her spirit reignited by their victory, but he could see the flicker of doubt return, shadows of memory swirling around her mind. He stepped closer, feeling the pull of uncertainty thickening the air between them. "Amelia, don't let it get to you. We can't let fear creep back in," he urged softly, his voice steadying her. Just as she was regaining her composure, the room's energy dimmed, and the shadows wrapped back around their legs like creeping vines, trying to drag them down again. The floor beneath them trembled as the dark creature's laughter resonated like a death knell. "Your victory is just an illusion, dear Amelia. I will be back, and when I return, I will take everything," it sneered, twisting slowly. "And who will save you then?" His heart raced as the shadows multiplied, each moving closer, whispers of despair filling the air like venomous fog. "Amelia, grab my hand. We have to go." He reached for her, fear curling in his stomach. With the sound of breaking glass, a broken window nearby caught the remnants of light, refracting it like a prism, scattering colors all around. "Look!" Amelia shouted, lifting her chin defiantly. "It's not over." Drawing strength from that marvelous display, they pushed against the tide of darkness together, their combined light brightening against the encroaching fear. But the creature wasn't finished yet. With a final shriek, it lunged once more, its form twisting into a monstrous shape, a blend of shadow and fury. "No!" He grabbed at Amelia, pulling her back as the creature rushed forward, its tendrils slashing through the space they had just occupied. The dark limbs shattered like glass, but it didn't relent, picking up speed, a whirlwind of darkness intent on consuming them both. "Run!" Amelia cried, but before they could escape, an unholy scream erupted as the shadows began to engulf them once again. With a flick of its claws, the creature shattered the remnants of peace they had fought for, sending shards of darkness spiraling around them in a chaotic dance. But as they dashed through the door, they stumbled into the living room, and something shocking caught their eyes. Turned out, they weren't alone in this fight. A figure stood at the edge of the room, illuminated by the soft glow of the streetlight outside. "Who are you?" she asked, eyes wide in bewilderment at the scene unfolding before her. "Get away from here!" he shouted, the urgency thick in his throat. But Amelia's gaze fixated on the newcomer, horror dawning on her face. "I know her," she whispered, trembling from the realization. "But how? Why is she here?" The girl's innocent expression contrasted sharply against the chaos, and he felt a jolt of fear mix with confusion. Who was this girl, and what role did she play in their unfolding nightmare? The shadows closed in, the creature following, its malevolent laughter filling the room. Their world was unfurling in ways they couldn't begin to understand. One thing was certain, the stakes had just risen, and the true battle had only just begun. Would they discover the girl's true connection, or would the darkness consume them first? The tension in the room was palpable, a thick fog of confusion mingled with fear. Amelia stood frozen, her heart pounding. The girl, small, with wide, frightened eyes, looked impossibly out of place in the chaos swirling around them. "Amelia, what do you mean you know her?" he asked, his voice tight with urgency as he threw a glance back at the encroaching darkness. The creature's laughter echoed, mocking them, hunger lacing each sound. I can't, Amelia stammered. The girl took a tentative step forward, her gaze darting between them and the shadows that were inching closer, creeping along the walls like vines searching for something to ensnare. Who is she, Amelia? We don't have time. Panic surged within him. He felt a twist in his stomach as the shadows twisted and danced across the floor, their malicious forms watching them with insatiable hunger. I swear I've seen her before. Amelia cried, her voice rising over the noise of the creature, but fear pulled at her words like anchors pulling her into the depths of the unknown. Is she important? He demanded, every instinct screaming to escape this impending doom. Suddenly, the girl spoke, her voice clear and steady amidst the chaos. I'm not afraid of you, she declared, her tiny frame standing tall against the looming darkness. You can't take me. The creature paused, its advance faltering for just a moment. The sound of its laughter dwindled into a low growl, uncertainty flickering in its molten eyes. Oh, but dear child, you are part of the game now, it hissed, its voice dripping with malice. And I will enjoy every moment of your despair. Don't listen to it. He shouted, feeling the weight of the creature's threat, watchful, insatiable. We need to move, now. The girl's face twisted, confusion flooding her features as she turned to Amelia. You said we would be safe. You promised. The innocence of her plea stabbed through Amelia, igniting a spark of determination within her. No. I will not let you take her. Amelia snapped back, and to his shock, she stepped in front of the girl as if to shield her from the shadows. It was a protective instinct, raw and fierce. Amelia, get away from her. He shouted, dread pooling around his heart. This isn't just about you. It's about all of us. We can't be brave at the cost of our lives. Their eyes locked, and in that moment, everything hung in the balance. A single choice between safety and sacrifice. The shadows lurked, electric tension pulsing in the air between them. In this heart-stopping breath, they had no idea. But the creature seized the moment. With a thunderous roar, it lunged forward, its shadowy tendrils aiming straight for the girl. He lunged too, adrenaline surging through him, grasping Amelia's arm as he pulled her away from the danger. Run! He yelled, leading them toward the only way out. As they barreled for the door, the sound of shattering glass erupted behind them. The room erupted in chaos, shards of darkness crashing against the walls like a hurricane unleashed. Where do we even go? Amelia cried out, fear clawing at her throat. The girl, however, remained oddly calm as they rushed past her. Follow me, she announced, taking off into an adjoining hallway bathed in dim light. Wait! He shouted, confused. Who was this girl leading them into the unknown? But before he could grasp her motives, the shadows surged, almost as if sensing their hesitation. Instinctively, he reached out, grabbing both Amelia and the girl, urging them onward. Their feet pounded against the floor, breaths ragged. The walls felt alive with darkness, closing in like a predator, driven to devour. As they turned the corner, a flicker of light ignited at the end of the hall. Hope glimmered faintly, but doubt clawed at him. Would it lead them out, or deeper into despair? Just as the shadows coiled tighter around them, he caught a glimpse of something etched into the wall near the glowing light, a symbol that tied the girl, the darkness, and perhaps even Amelia into one shocking reality. Stop! He yelled, heart pounding. What is that? But even as he asked, the shadows howled, their fury at the edge of breaking. He realized unwillingly that the girl had pulled them into a situation that was only about to spiral into chaos. Amelia gasped, eyes widening. What is happening? The girl turned back, an enigmatic smile crossing her lips that sent chills down his spine. This is just the beginning, and you will need to trust me if you want to survive. In that suspended moment, dread curled around his chest. What new horror awaited them, and what choice would they have to make next? Amelia felt the weight of the world pressing on her small shoulders. The hallway stretched endlessly ahead, the glow at the end flickering like a fading star, hope battling darkness. We can't just follow you blindly, he shouted after the girl, the shadows thrumming ominously behind them. "Trust me," she insisted, her voice steadfast despite the chaos. "This way." She darted down the dim hallway, urgency pushing them forward. They followed, every step echoing like thunder in their ears, the creaturesque growl rising in volume behind them. Shadows lashed out, grasping for limbs and pulling at fabric, but they pressed on. Fear surged through him. He had to protect Amelia, had to fight through the encroaching darkness. Suddenly, the girl halted. "Here," she cried, and they skidded to a stop. The wall shimmered in the midnight glow, revealing a set of ancient symbols carved deep into the wood markings that seemed to pulsate with energy, alive and angry. "What is this?" he gasped, unable to take his eyes off the symbols. They looked familiar, as if he'd stumbled on an ancient language steeped in forgotten tales. "It's the key," the girl exclaimed, her voice a blend of excitement and dread. "The only way to push the darkness back is to activate the runes." "Activate? How?" He glanced back, the growling sounds growing louder, the shadows inching closer. Amelia stepped forward, trembling but resolute. I can feel it," she whispered, a strange glow flickering in her eyes. "It's like a part of me." "Don't," he shouted, fear gripping him like a vice. "It may be a trick." But before he could grasp her arm, Amelia raised her hand, channeling energy toward the symbols. The runes flared with light, bathing the hallway in a warm glow that pushed the darkness back momentarily. He watched in awe as she poured herself into the magic, drawing from a well of courage he never knew she possessed. The shadows shrieked, retreating as if hit with a blast of sunlight. Yet, the creature's roar echoed louder than before, its form flickering in the growing light. "You think this will save you?" It sneered, its eyes blazing in fury. "You are mere children playing in the dark. I'm not afraid of you," Amelia cried, her voice imbued with strength. As if in response, the symbols pulsed faster, radiating light. He felt a surge of protection surrounding them, but doubt clawed at his heart. What if it was not enough? "Amelia, keep your focus," he urged, stepping in closer, ready to defend her if need be. "You've got this. Control it." She nodded, determination etched on her face. The symbols responded to her resolve, vibrating with a more powerful energy. This was the nexus, the place where the light would either snuff out the darkness or fail against its weight. Then, a blinding flash erupted from Amelia's palm, reminiscent of a supernova, and the girl stood beside her, hands raised, mirroring Amelia's intent. Together, they chanted words he couldn't comprehend, their voices intertwining against the chaos surrounding them. The symbols became a cyclone of light, tearing through the shadows, weaving through the very fabric of their reality. In that moment, a bridge formed, a connection of hope and spirit binding them together against the encroaching darkness. "You think this is an ending? You're wrong." The creature roared, but its voice splintered against the force of the light closing in. He felt Amelia's power enveloping him, filling the void where fear once lived. Then, it happened. A blast of energy surged, sweeping through the shadows like a tide, obliterating everything in its path. The monster writhed, shrieking as the light pierced its dark heart, illuminating the room with searing radiance. The darkness began to dissolve, sucked into the vortex created by the symbols, the creature's agonizing cry echoing as it faded completely. As the last of the shadows vanished, silence enveloped them, so heavy, so complete he could scarcely breathe. He turned to Amelia, searching her eyes for answers, for reassurance. "Did we do it?" he asked, disbelief coloring his voice. The girl nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "The darkness is gone, for now." Amelia looked down, her small shoulders heaving with gradual relief. A sense of liberation washed over him as the weight they had carried seemed to lift. They were free for this moment, but then reality crept in. The girl, gazing toward the entrance of the hall, spoke softly. "But it will come back. It always does. Just, not today." "It will have to face us again," Amelia declared, firm like a warrior after battle. He took Amelia's hand, pride swelling in his chest. She wasn't just his daughter, she was a force of light, a beacon of hope. Together they'd fight whatever darkness lay ahead, shoulder to shoulder, as allies in a battle that would not end here. "Let us face it together," he said, steeling himself for the future, whatever it might hold. They stepped into the light, leaving the horrors of the night behind. Change was in the air, and whether it would bring joy or sorrow would be for them to discover. For now, they walked forward, hand in hand, ready to face whatever would come next. The journey wasn't over. It was just the beginning. Now that you've reached the conclusion of this gripping tale, don't let it end here. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss more exclusive stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Smash that like button right now to fuel the algorithm fire and help more fans find this adventure. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what's to come, your thoughts or what make this community so special. And don't wait even 1 second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support is what keeps this channel alive, and together, we can journey into even more amazing stories ahead.